Platformers come in all shapes and sizes, from the slightly overweight plumber in Mario, the blue bomber that Capcom has in their corner, and even the mighty hedgehog that the Blast Processing has behind them. Some of these characters jump on Goomba's heads, use boss power-ups, or spin so fast it'll make your head hurt. But if you told me a Starlight character would be any good back in 1995, I'd probably laugh in your face. Today you'll find out if Ristar on the Sega Genesis is worth playing today. Ristar was a late Sega Genesis release back in February of 1995, published by Sega. What you might not know about Ristar is that Sonic and Ristar were actually intended to be the same game. When the team at Sega was developing Sonic, they originally thought the character would have the ability to reach out and grab things as part of its core gameplay. Of course, it didn't turn out that way for Sonic, being the incredibly fast hedgehog that he is. Fast forward 4 years later, Ristar was born. Ristar takes a much different approach to the platformer genre. Instead of simply jumping on enemies' heads, Ristar uses its hands to grab onto enemies. For such a simple mechanic, you have a ton of different uses outside of smashing an enemy against you, like climbing up a ladder or swinging from a bar. Later stages in the game, you'll even see more clever uses like holding onto a pole while pulling yourself around. I had a blast with the areas that Ristar had to swim around in. Watch these sections where you have to rush forward and avoid getting pulled back by the current. I wish more games used this type of gameplay, so that was great to see. Ristar rewards you for taking a slower, more thought-out approach to the game. Running in guns a-blazing will usually end up in a cheap death from some enemy just appearing on the screen. You really want to take things slow if you want any chance of progressing. You can press A or C to jump, or hold the B button to grab. The lack of buttons keeps the controls simple and precise. Ristar plays extremely well, as you would expect from a Sega-developed game. The levels were laid out extremely well. Each of the 6 stages has 2 main levels, then a boss battle on the 3rd stage, except for the 7th stage, which is the final stage and then the final boss battle. Each of the stages has a different theme to keep things fresh. One's a music level, one's a robotic level, you got this underwater level, oh, and of course an ice stage. Nothing spells platformer like an ice stage. In each of these stages, Ristar comes with some really cool puzzles to solve. Let's take this one, as you have to find the gem to put in the machine to progress to the next section. Or this section where you have to pick up this device to give to the bird in order to proceed. Puzzles like this help so much in giving Ristar a sense of progression and break up the whole thought of, oh well, that's just another game where I move from left to right to make it to the end. There's also often multiple paths you could take to progress. When I found myself dying on a specific stage, I'll often look around to see if there's another way to get through. Graphically, Ristar is among the best of the best on the Genesis. The art style holds up so well today and just looks so crisp. In case you were wondering, it's being captured here on a Model 1 Genesis through an OSSC here in 4X mode. The boss battles are just outrageous. You got a hammerhead shark who keeps pulling up the tub stoppers in the ocean as you swim around grabbing him. Check out this armadillo boss that you have to fight while falling down into a pit. Then there's this giant bird who I can only imagine as Woody the Woodpecker that throws musical notes at you. He'll then slow down the music in the process. Then you have this ice boss that you have to throw hot pizzas in its mouth. Yeah, talk about an odd way to die. Death by pizza. I don't know what the team from Sega was on at the time of creating these bosses, but yeah, whatever they were smoking, it must have been some really good stuff. Ristar takes place in and around 7 planets where an evil space pirate, Kaiser Greedy, makes the planet leaders obey him using mind control. One of the planets prays for a hero before this could all take place, and it somehow reaches the star goddess who awakens Ristar, and yeah, who really plays a platformer for the storyline anyway. It's often about rescuing a princess or a damsel in distress. The musical tunes are upbeat and give you that whole I'm in outer space feeling. Sega always does a great job on their soundtracks. It definitely reminds you of something you'd hear in a Sonic the Hedgehog game, and of course, Ristar could have been Sonic at some point, so it's not out of the question to think that way. Each of the tracks sets the mood for each of the different stages. I never thought any of the tracks were annoying throughout the entire game. Ristar does get a bit difficult past the 3rd stage. It's not a bad thing by any means, it just means you'll need to take things slow and learn the patterns of each of the enemies and stages. You can totally finish Ristar from a difficulty standpoint. There are also ways to pick up extra lives lives or continues along your way. There's also a difficulty option as well as a password system that I'll leave below in the description. Entering in the password I love you lets you skip through the stages, which was great for picking up where you left off. I had a blast making my way through Ristar, and if you're watching this video, I cannot stress it enough. Find a copy of Ristar. It's been ported everywhere from the Nintendo Switch, Windows, Android, or iPhone, and experience the masterpiece that is Ristar because it's one of the best games released on the Sega Genesis. I'm the Retro Kingpin, thanks for watching.